New Zealand versus Fiji. Wow, the battle for top spot. I am so excited for this one. I'm excited for both games actually today. I think that PNG Newcal will be fantastic. I think it'll be end to end. I think it'll be cagey and just huge for one side, who's then going to have to pack their bags and go home. This one, that's not the case. This is a chance for Fiji to test themselves at just the highest level. Now, Papua New Guinea, so solid defensively, so solid, caused New Zealand all kind of heartache. I don't think Fiji are as strong as Papua New Guinea defensively. That's my personal opinion. I don't think the likes of Tuivuna and Tekiate are as solid. I think that Alam in between the sticks is a good goalkeeper. But again, not as good as kind of Warasan if we're comparing those two sides. But Fiji do have more attacking power than Papua New Guinea, which means I'm definitely looking forward to that game, of course, on what is then match day 6 or match day 3 for these sides in this group. Just going to talk about Fiji to start with, and then of course I'll get on to the favourites, New Zealand, who are technically the home side for this game. Fiji have got a good attack. Roy Krishna, pivotal. Of course, Nalubu, or Nalaubu, should I say, is one hell of a talent. Technically not top class, but he can finish. But it's just so physically powerful. We've seen the header, the speed, the calm, composure and finish from him. His 2 goals. He's, of course, top scorer in this tournament. The challenge for him is, of course, he will be up against Winston Reid. But you've also got 2 good wingers. I expect a similar side, to be honest, for Fiji in this game, with Raju and Hughes on the wings. And I expect a similar kind of game plan. Although I did speak to Fleming after the initial game. He said they're actually going to try and play football. They are going to try and play football against New Zealand. They're not going to kind of park the bus. But I think that they will be forced to park the bus. I don't think that will be their tactical setup. And I think they will try and get the ball down and play. But I think they will know. They'll tactically know. They're going to be pegged back by the likes of Clayton Lewis and just players that can dominate that midfield for New Zealand. But what they have that PNG I don't think did have is the ability to just ping the ball long to 2 good athletic forwards. Gunemba's an okay striker. I don't think he's as physically powerful as Sairusi, who we saw, and Krishna. I mean that's kind of the difference. Krishna is such a pivotal player, and Reid might have to man mark Krishna, which will free up Sairusi Nalubu to kind of be a little bit more influential on this game. It'll be interesting to see the intelligence of the striker, because one thing that Gunemba did, which isn't the right thing to do, is he was stood on Winston Reid. That's completely the wrong decision. You need to stand on Boxhall, who I imagine will also start this game, because he's not as good. That's not disrespectful to Boxhall. It's just a statement of fact. You can't stand on Winston Reid and expect to win that one-on-one, because you won't win it. It's as simple as that. So the intelligence from the striker, you'll see moving onto the slightly weaker defender, because you'll see that today from Chris Wood. Let's talk briefly about Chris Wood. Is he going to play today? He has travelled. He should have arrived by now, provided that his documentation, etc. is all in order. He could start. I don't imagine Ben Waine will start, despite his goal to win it, but we might see him again from the bench if the game's tight. I think he deserves another substitute appearance given his debut goal. Fantastic for him. He was absolutely buzzing with that. I think that Danny Hay will look at this game and think, win this, group's done. And that's completely right. Win this, group's done. Because they're New Caledonia on the final game, and based on match day 1, they will expect to win that game. And plus, they will have a stronger side by then. You know, more of the players will have arrived. If Chris Wood plays in this game, expect him to pin himself on the weaker defenders, and they can then, New Zealand have the option then of going a little bit more direct, because Chris Wood is an abomination of a man. He's a man mountain of a striker, and he's going to be pivotal if he plays in this game. I wasn't impressed with Andre de Jong. And I think that the Comelongs dealt with him with ease in that first game. I wasn't impressed with him. One player I think will be huge in this game again will be Barbarouses if he plays, Costa Barbarouses, because he is just brilliant on the ball, and I expect him with his inverted left foot, cut in from the right and whip those balls, similar to what we saw with Richard Selle, actually whip those balls in between the two centre-backs, because that's clearly been exposed as a weak point for Fiji. And Chris Wood's the type of striker, if he plays, to get on the end of that and nick something and try and steal some goals. The back four for New Zealand, they are going to be tested in this game, but Sitareki Hughes was one of the best players for Fiji in that first game, in my opinion. But he is going to be up against probably Daningham, will probably start again, and that's a big challenge. I just think for Fiji, a draw would be amazing, but I think similar to PNG, you have to just take a 1-0 defeat. You are going to have to play counter-attacking. The main goal here for Fiji will be, in the back of their minds, are we going to meet New Zealand in the final? And they could, because they won't meet them in the semis, so they could meet them in the final. And I think they have to approach it as a test game. Yes, they then have a huge game when they play Papua New Guinea, which is ultimately then, it could be the decider. It could be the decider to see who goes through. New Caledonia are in the toughest position in the group, having New Zealand on the final game, and having already lost to Fiji. I do think that New Zealand will win this game, and I think that it will be maybe a 3-1. Maybe a 2-0, 3-0 or 3-1. I'm going to kind of band those scorelines together. I'd love in many ways to see a kind of a more competitive game than I'm envisaging in my head, but I don't think that Fiji are as technically good as Papua New Guinea, but I think they are physically stronger. And so it'll be interesting how that plays out, because Papua New Guinea, as I've already said in the other match preview, so strong at the back. Alwyn Comalong, he's played at good levels at centre-back. Already spoken about how important it is to have solid defenders, and I just don't think Fiji's defence is as solid as Papua New Guinea. So I think that New Zealand will be able to score a few more goals, and the reason why I'm caveating with a potential goal for Fiji is just the physical ability they have going forward with Krishna and Sairisu Nalaubu. Again, apologies if any of the pronunciation is wrong with any of the players. I envisage today, in this match day, that we will see victories for Papua New Guinea and New Zealand. I could be wrong on both counts. For Fiji here, they have the luxury of accepting a low defeat and trying to play for a draw. So that might change the mindset. But if I was them, and I think that Fleming will approach it in this way, I would be using this as a test of... I would test New Zealand today. I would really go, you know what? Let's just go for it. Because what have we got to lose? If we lose 2-0... then we're still on 3 points. We're still probably in one of the best positions to go through. They will be praying that the other game's a draw, which then puts them really in the driving seat for the final game, and it could be a draw. And then maybe that will change the mindset. They have the luxury of sitting back and waiting for the first result and thinking, okay, do we need a point here? Or can we just play freely? And this group, one thing that the Fiji group has is the togetherness is ridiculous. They were the main side set. Of course they won. Last-minute winner, so you'd expect scenes of celebration. But they had the loudest national anthem. They all stood together as a side. I've spoken to Timo Jankowski whilst I've been here as well, and he's expressed, the team chemistry is a joke. It's fantastic. And with Roy Krishna there as well, what a unit they are. So I do imagine that this game will be a New Zealand win because of their attacking strength, especially if they have Chris Wood. But I think that we will see another good, entertaining performance from Fiji, and no doubt it will be a good game. Drop your comments below. What do you think the scoreline is going to be in this one? There'll be plenty more content across the socials whilst I'm at the games. It's at the fantastic Qatar Sports Club. And, wow, I'm just looking forward to these games so much. And I've just absolutely loved bringing you this content from Doha here. That is all from us. Of course, we will see you next time.